Hello, Chester here. Today we're going to play Sultai Reanimator. So I was watching a lot of the legacy videos and I am trying to closely look at the legacy meta right now, and I've seen they've adopted three to four cameos in their Reanimator shells. And I'm pretty glad to see that they have usually cameos, four bowmasters, and Kaitos to do a frog impression, I guess. They also have Entomb and Reanimate. We don't have Entomb, so how do we make up for that? We're going to play Rakshasa's Bargain. This was an overperformer so far in show and tell, and I thought about another A and B combo, which is Reanimator. So basically, you're trying to look for Atraxa and Reanimate in one go, and you can bin Atraxa that way and also get two new cards to support your fair game plan. And we also have access to the band card Grief. So we make up the luck of Force of Will with Grief. We also have Mana Drain, which is great with Rakshas's Bargain because any extra mana can help lower the cost of the bargain. Can also lower cost of dig through time, which is also banned in other eternal formats. So we have six card advantage spells. This is basically just a control with a slight reanimator package. Otraxa and Reanimate. Troll of Khazad-dûn is part of the mana base, but it's also part of the reanimator package, which is really strong. And Grief, Mana Drain are our interaction pieces for the deck. We have Fatal Push for removal because compared to Legacy, Timeless actually has more creature matchups. So you have to try to think about what applies in Legacy and what applies to Timeless when creating or porting decks from Legacy to Timeless because some of the deck building philosophies there don't apply to Timeless. They don't really have more do energy there. And we can talk about why that is, but I'd rather not because we're going to discuss Days, Ancient Tomb, Wasteland, and there's just a lot of variables that it's better to look at the existing metagame and try to beat it. Now, talking about that, this is pretty weak to Mordo Energy Game 1, and partly because you lose a lot of life with your shocks. And to mitigate that, I tried to keep the green splash minimal. So this is basically just a blue-black deck which has a survey land for green in order to cast Rakshas's Bargain. And more importantly, post board, we have access to Abrupt Decay, Culling Ritual, and sometimes Veil of Summer. The six card advantage spells can get us there, or even maybe just reanimating Anatroxa early on could probably help against that matchup. And as for the sideboard, it's pretty standard. We have Surgical Extractions. Abrupt Decay is great for dealing with Flip Tamio, Flip a Johnny, any Graveyard Hate, Goblin Bombardment. Toxic Deluge is the blue-black sweeper of choice. And since we are splashing green, I decided to just try out Culling Ritual here. And my guess is this is probably too slow, but I think the extra advantage of hitting Graveyard Hate is really good and worth it. Because by bringing in Graveyard Hate against this deck, your opponent's clock does slow down a bit. So you can get to Culling Ritual easily. And if you manage to Culling Ritual into six permanents, you can just hard cast Rakshasa's Bargain for colorless. There's also Blood Chief's Thirst. which is the removal spell of choice if you want to deal with Tameo and Ajani and any of the popular creatures like Frog, Orcish Bowmasters in the sideboard. This originally was in the main board. I had two Griefs in here and four Bowmasters, but I decided I want to just shore up my unfair game plan by having the max discard available so we can be a little bit more proactive about going into the reanimator combo game one. And then game two and three, we can swap up to a more controlling plan, trimming down on griefs and maybe the reanimate package. So it's similar to the legacy logic because the way the decks are built right now in legacy, the reanimator decks can easily pivot in and out of the fair and unfair game plans. That is the way this deck is built in mind. And let's try to play some games to see what works and what doesn't. Up against the Great Cornholio. Since we're going first, it's pretty straightforward what to do here. Just gonna lead with Watery Grave, Tameo, and into Frog. Then if we draw into Atraxa, we can just reanimate. First couple of plays probably eats removal, but since we drew into Grief, let's Grief first. Consign to memory. I really care about consign. Okay, I guess the best play here is to play Frog, dodging the spell snare, wait for them to brainstorm, then we can reanimate Grief. Since they're going to be selecting the best cards that they get from this brainstorm. I ditched Consign because I think the Lotus Field will be a big problem later on. He drew the swords. Now we just reanimate Grief. Perfect. So there are control deck. We want Bowmasters. Don't want the push. We can board in Veil. Lotus Field deck. Feel like they might be playing. Yeah, I think Abrupt Decay is good here. They might be playing Strict Proctor, Teferi, and this is good against that. We can make one more cut here. Wonder what that is. Probably just an Atraxa for Flusterstorm. Hey, this is a decent hand. Hopefully we draw into a land. Since they played this out untapped, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna go for troll here. They're not representing counterspell mana. This is probably a reprieve. Okay, Stern Scolding. They might go Proctor into field here. They don't. I think we just passed the turn. Okay, since they did that, let's just go ahead and go for the bargain here. Take these two. Okay, that's neat. Can grief now. Let's play the surveil first. Okay, Masters is fine. Let's play out the Tameo.
Oh, how am I supposed to focus on only one project?
Harbinger. I think this is fine. This is still castable. And now I can flip Tameo. That's perfect. Nice.
Rather I would have liked think before you act.
I'm going to sandbag this swamp. Okay, it's perfect.
A good story can refresh the mind.
Easy Atraxa. Nice. So the light green splash kind of saved us there. We don't really care as much about Harbinger. And what's great about Rakshas's Bargain is that you don't necessarily need the green source. It's not a capable hand. When mulling, sometimes you need to think about if this is capable, if this was a multi six, and it's still not. So, okay, this is better. Now we have to think about keeping Atraxa. I don't think we keep Atraxa here. I think having Troll is okay. If they are more do energy, they can just take my frog and Atraxa will be dead. The Catacombs doesn't give away what I'm playing. They're probably going to peddler me or thought sees me here. Oh, okay.
May our axes strike as one.
Let's get sewers here. Don't need another troll. Should I just hold up Bowmasters or play Frog? I think I just hold up Bowmasters. They might make a mistake and attack attack with the Ajani. Double block so that we are sure that Ajani dies. Here it looks like they are preparing for a Bowmaster. So I'm just gonna play out Psychic Frog. Okay, that's fine. Since I fetch my basics, they might be thinking I might have Harbinger. They haven't missed a land drop, so maybe this is just all interaction. I think I'm just going to pass. There's no need to brainstorm here. I like the cards in my hand. I'm not really getting pressured that hard. There's an Johnny,
What a beautiful day, brother.
static prison. Okay. I guess I'm looking for fatal push here. Don't find the fatal push. Think I want the land drop for next turn. Okay. It's gonna get the bargain and the dig. Guess I can play frog. Discharge. Okay. Not sure if this is winnable anymore. And grief on Tamiyo, I guess. 2, 4, 6. We're taking too much damage here.
I've read nearly the entire library.
I think we just concede. Okay, this is the hard matchup because we are playing Reanimate. We want all the removal spells. Let's cut the mana drains out. Link to dust is fine. Griefs go out. think I'm just gonna trim down on reanimate. Maybe a Troxin for a Veil of Summer. Let's play first. A pretty good hand. The dream would be to surveil into Atroxa. Let's fetch a green surveil here. A brainstorm is pretty nice. Let's just pass the turn here. I don't think playing frog out is good in this spot because they didn't play anything on turn one. Could go for abrupt decay here. I guess we're just gonna bowmasters. Now let's brainstorm. Okay, that's really great. Get the fetch. Get a bargain. Get a bowmasters. Okay, if the static prison, we have abrupt decay. And if this gets swords, I'm fine because the Atraxa technically drew us 3 cards already. Just gonna go for bargain here. Let's attack. This might make them dash a Ragavan or something. See, that's good for us. Now we're just gonna fetch for island, then bargain. Think through time and push is really good. 5, 6. I guess I'll just stock up on fatal push then. Take the frog. I think we still have the basic swamp. Here we're just trying to outmuscle them with raw card advantage. It's really nice. Kaya wag, maybe I dig through time now. Okay, that's perfect. I think I'm fine with just doing this. Disgusting. Okay. Skeptical about this skip because we don't have interaction on turn one, but let's try this. Something is telling me that I should be willing to willing to removal spells. Okay. I think they tried to look for graveyard hate.
Late reading. Again.
That sucks for us. We won't get to flip Tameo. Okay. So we are going to flip Tameo. Can I put these two back?
This will be a boon to my reason. Respect the library.
They can distract themselves with Tameo. I'm trying to conserve my life total as much as possible because I need to reanimate Atroxa. Okay, we're just gonna get the green fetch. Let's keep that.
Violence is not the answer.
We have abrupt decay for that bombardment. Okay,
Fight beside me, brother.
nice.
Respect the library.
This is the strength of trying going for reanimator control. We've done zero reanimator stuff. Nope, don't want that. Let's just pass here. Okay, let's just get the watery grave. Link to dust is important here because this lets us reanimate Atroxa safely. It also is a card draw engine. Nice. controlled that game pretty well. Let's play first. It's Tony. Feel like this is a shift and tell deck. Let's see. So I'm going to lead with Undercity Sewers first. Okay, that might be good. Prismatic Vista.
Is that the name of this passage?
What are they playing? Okay, it got a basic forest. Now we should just flip Tameo.
I'll aid you. So focus on the fight. Think before you act.
Hmm. Play out the Morgan. Don't think I need to grief.
Respect the library.
Maybe this deck should be playing borrowers in the main. So they plan to Kozilek's command here. You just take the One Ring. That's nuts. You can call Kozilek's command now. Okay, this is fine. Try to look hard for a grief. There's the grief. I think I'm more concerned about the K command.
Violence is not the answer.
They can One Ring here. Can discard Troll and Brainstorm. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Emmy costs 9 or 8. Sorry, 8.
The history of the multiverse is at my fingertips.
Where's the basics? I think I'm just gonna play another frog just in case. Three, 6, 8, 9. That really sucks.
Think before you act.
How they can hardcast it. I think I'm just gonna discard all of the things that I can do to hurt myself.
I highly recommend this book.
Yeah, this game makes me want to run Borrower. If they attack with Frog, they still take 9. I think we have this. I can't really do anything to hurt myself from here because they have Chalice up. They really like to have it all. They almost got me. Surgical is great here. Push isn't great. Not sure if I want Abrupt Decay. Need to cut one more card. I think that's going to be Tamio. Maybe let's cut a Frog. No, this is fine. The One Ring is really broken. Okay, I think this is a capable hand. I'm gonna in- I'm gonna use Brainstorm at turn 1. I think I Brainstorm turn 1. Or maybe not, because they seem to have Surgical. So I'm just gonna exile the other Grief. Then here we just go for a land. I'm scared for my mana drains though. I think there's no threatening play for them next turn. Let's just do this. No reanimates in sight. You just really have it all.
Perhaps there are more useful texts down on the surface.
Let's keep up mana drain. I think I'm okay with losing the extra one. Okay.
I will protect this library with my life. Violence is not the answer.
I think I just do that so that we can rebuy that later.
Oh, this is one of my favorites.
Just gonna hold up mana drain. I think this is fine.
Respect the library.
Okay. You can hit Tamio. That's fine.
Aggression is unbecoming.
I think I'm just gonna mana drain this. Let's get these two. Yep, got it. Easy game. Welcome back. So far this deck is 9-1 in the ladder. But to be honest, the ladder isn't really that competitive anymore. We have faced one Mordo energy deck in 10 games and a bunch of weird decks. Now, what I liked about this deck is its ability to play the fair game while being able to just have reanimate and Atraxa. Sometimes you are way behind and suddenly you just draw into this combo and flip the game around. So that's one of the strengths of this deck. Another strength of this deck compared to the Esper shells that we usually play is that by having a more proactive game plan, you don't have to worry about things like Misrise Village or shifting woodlands because those things are unbeatable for the hard control shells. This one can just kill your opponent using Atroxa Beats or even Grief or Frog. So there's a lot of threat density in here. Troll actually counts as a threat here, and this is usually a 2 to 3 turn clock against combo. As for the sideboard, I've already made changes here before playing the deck. I used to have two Harbingers in place of the Blood Shifters because I thought Harbinger would be great into Mardu, but it's not that great. I also wanted Harbinger in the Shifting Woodlands deck because it disables all the colorless mana and Shifting Woodlands. So it would have been good against the third match in the video. But I think it's unnecessary. I'd rather just have more cards for Mordu energy than try to have more cards to beat those decks because I think the base 60 does that pretty well already. And I guess what I would change is maybe I could up the mana since we do have only 18 lands, 20 if you count Troll. And sometimes I do feel like I get too much one landers. So maybe 1 to 2 lands is possible. And before you ask or wonder, I did consider playing Shifting Woodlands myself, but then I realized that I can't turn on Delirium that easily. We only have 4 sorceries, and most of our cards are creatures and instants and lands. So I decided to cut it and just stick to the blue black base, and it has felt cleaner this way. But yeah, I think this type of deck is certainly a possible contender. I'm not gonna say it's tier 1 or tier 2 or whatever. I'm just saying there's potential in here. With Final Fantasy coming, I'm not really sure how this deck changes. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching.